Hey guys, it's Scan at GLHFTV, and on this episode of Scananigans, you're going to find pretty much nothing more than a bit of an unscripted rant from me because of something that has been kind of nagging me in the back of my mind for a little bit now, and something that I feel is just worth talking about and worth acknowledging, especially in the extremely unique medium that is gaming. And that's spoilers in general. So, anyone who's following this channel, or anyone who's been following this channel for some time, knows that Destiny is quite obviously one of my favorite video games of all time, and I've reached a point where I truly am avoiding as much Destiny 2 content as I possibly can. As of me recording this, Destiny is now only 12 days away. So, I don't want to see levels, I don't want to see weapons, I don't want to know what unlockables there are, I absolutely don't want story spoilers whatsoever. I want to stay away from as much information as that game as I can at this point. But at the same time, I feel like spoilers have become such not just an important part of reporting when it comes to all media, but vitally important when it comes to the launch of major single-player games. I mean, just look at the effect that early leaks of the most recent episodes of Game of Thrones have had, and how the spoilers from those leaks going onto the internet has had a substantial visible effect on the way that that series is covered, on the way its fan base is talking about it, in a way that quite obviously wouldn't exist unless those spoilers had been released. You have so much more of a complex layered situation when it comes to spoilers in video games, though, because spoilers when it comes to film, television, even stage production, and even classic fiction, even just the written word, those all follow such a similar structure that there's really only one way they can be spoiled, and that's the reveal of an actual plot point, because that's the entirety of what those mediums are about. But when it comes to gaming, there's so many more things I feel that can be spoiled other than the direct story, and that is twofold. That's both because of the nature of video games as something where learning items, learning characters, learning there's so much more you need to know other than a basic plot, that if you care about any one of those individual areas, like I said, levels, items, weapons, abilities, loadouts, all of that, to me, learning about those things beyond a point where you want to learn them is a spoiler. But here's where things get kind of weird. There's a 2016 study that was done by a professor of psychology at UC San Diego, I believe, that proved that, psychologically speaking, people actually enjoy their media or their story-driven entertainment, whatever it is, more if it's already had its major plot point or its major twist spoiled for them. And I find that nuts. I find that absolutely insane. I literally cannot fathom that, because I very, very deeply believe that video games are the best storytelling medium that there is, because of the uniqueness of it being an interactive form of entertainment. And you just look throughout the history of gaming and the stories that have been told, and the ways those stories have been told that can only be done in an interactive medium. Games that I'm talking about, like Journey and Undertale and Mass Effect and Dragon Age and so many BioWare games that I could list. And Bioshock especially, is one of the most well-known twists in video game history, which is both a brilliant twist in a plot sense and also, to a degree, a criticism of the very passive mindset nature, the almost instinctual nature of gaming. So when those kinds of spoilers are so much more multifaceted to me than those of traditional media. I don't think any game has ever done a better job confronting the concept of a video game spoiler than Undertale. And for those of you who haven't played Undertale yet and do want to play that game in the future, I'm just warning you now, I'm going to be saying a few things from this point onward that could definitely constitute as spoilers. I won't be talking in depth about the plot of the game, just a concept that the game is built on that dramatically alters your perception of the game. But really quickly, Undertale is a game you can choose to play one of two ways. You can play it by that base instinctual nature that gamers have, especially when given an RPG battle system, of fighting and defeating the enemy until you get to the next major plot point, and so on and so forth until you literally beat the game. And, grinding, leveling up, getting new items, all of that. What you expect in an RPG, a turn-based, not even turn-based, but just a menu-based RPG to play like. It has many similarities, I think, to Earthbound compared to most other RPGs, so far as how combat is handled. But anyways, you can play that like a classic game, and that's a completely viable way to play the game, and you get one result from that. But there's also an entire pacifist route to the game. That means that you don't need to fight everything. You can find ways out of situations. You can play it in a way that doesn't go along with that instinctual gamer reaction of fight, defeat, move on, that has an extremely dramatic effect on the game. When I played the game the first time, I played it as the more violent, straightforward gamer reaction for a while, and then I realized that there was this option to go back and essentially talk your way out of every situation. So I did the normal gamer reaction, and I'm not gonna try and hide that I did this. I deleted my save file and started over because I don't want to be a bad guy. I want to be the good guy. I want to go in there and have the most cheerful, uplifting experience I can have, as opposed to one where I am a monster, where I am a murderer. And the game calls you out on it. If you go back and erase what you had done, try to wipe the slate clean of your just outright horrible actions when you really think about it, the game straight up calls it out to you right in your face. And it's one of the greatest moments of subversion in the history of gaming. But can you imagine, and especially to those of you who haven't played the game and are still listening to this right now, what is your reaction to that game going to be now that you know that that exists? And if you are still listening to this and and that was a spoiler to you, I'm sorry, but I warned you. How much different is your experience of that game going to be now that you have that information? How much different is your experience of Bioshock going to be if you know what the major twist in that game is? How awful would the Legacy of Kain games be if every single twist in that fantastic series was revealed to you beforehand? And that's my reaction. That's how I think about those situations. But the science shows, the studies show that people in general will actually enjoy those things more if they already know those spoilers, if they already know that information. And I don't know if that's kind of a commentary on the culture of instant gratification and how possibly it makes you feel smarter because you're able to dissect the plot or situations or visuals of a video game or any other medium in a way that you can't unless you already know that piece of information or spoiler that's been being given later on in that medium. Is it, oh yeah, I caught that piece that was clearly alluding to the major spoiler that's going to happen later on. That makes you feel, I guess that makes you feel smart. That makes you feel like you're understanding a language that you're not supposed to be able to understand, that you're able to decipher something that literally you don't have the cipher to yet. Or that you're not supposed to have the cipher to yet, I should say. And the fact that you do, I mean, it's almost cheating when you break it down to it. It literally almost feels like cheating. Again, I truly believe that video games are the best medium for storytelling that has ever existed. From Undertale to Braid to Journey to even games like God of War and Devil May Cry and the Resident Evil series and Silent Hill, the Uncharted series, any enormous number of JRPGs that I could possibly list. The Last of Us. Oh God, The Last of Us. And you know what I'm getting at, and I'm literally trying to just pull out as many games as I can off the top of my head. But you absolutely get my point of how much all of those games could be dramatically altered, and your entire experience of them dramatically altered, just because you know one extra tidbit of information. The way it entirely changes the angle at which you are viewing that medium and what you can decipher from that extra little bit of, and I'm going to say it again, cheating information that you have. I don't understand it. I don't understand how psychologically, even though, again, as I said, it's been proven, you can see that as a positive in your media entertainment. For those of you who don't know, I am a very active member of the Destiny the Game Discord channel. In fact, I am the Destiny the Game Discord channel's official lore specialist. And many of your reactions would probably be, what frickin' lore, it's Destiny. And I completely understand that reaction, because year one of Destiny was a very horrible time for the story of that game, or almost completely lack thereof. You had 2 expansions which kind of extended on the lore, and then the Taken King happened, and everything frickin' changed with the way that both in the game and outside of the game, in the Grimoire cards, which, if you don't know, are online readable cards that you can read the backstory of many different facets of the Destiny universe from, and the lore of the Destiny universe. And using the Grimoire cards, the Destiny universe went from being a, kind of interesting magic sci-fi universe to what I honestly consider one of the most fantastically fleshed out game universes that's ever been made in just one single game as the foundation of a series. I love digging into lore. I love digging into stories. I love trying to find out every single little detail that I can. But the difference to me is I want to figure them out. I want to decipher them. I want to be able to put the puzzle pieces together for myself. And whether that seems pompous or arrogant, or whether that to me speaks to my gamer nature of discovery, because to me, more than anything, games that allow you to feel that true sense of discovery and research and analysis. Games like Skyrim, well, not just Skyrim, but the Elder Scrolls series, which the lore is only as deep as you really want it to be. Well, that means I'm going to do a deep dive. Games like Metroid Prime, where you can scan so many things in the environment, and computer consoles and things like that to find out such great little tidbits of information and backstory and flavor that wouldn't exist if you don't take the time to learn and read and dissect these things on your own. To a lot of people, I understand that's a waste of effort, that kind of information should be put in front of you directly to try to drive you to care about the plot and the world of the game up front in your face. But I like digging like that. And again, that's something that can really only exist in gaming. The bottom line for me is, I care so much about stories in the gaming medium and the wonderful, unique, special ways that they can be told only in the gaming medium, that perhaps the gaming world, the gaming fandom as a whole doesn't share that same pleasure out of getting the spoiler beforehand before they're able to dive into the game. Maybe they don't, but if they do, I absolutely don't count myself as one of those people. To me, it's not only a borderline cop-out, but it ruins the storytelling integrity of the entire medium. So, you will find no immediate spoilers from Destiny 2 on this channel. You will probably never find any major story spoilers unless I'm doing a Let's Play directly on this channel, because I want everyone to be able to figure that stuff out on their own. If someone's asking me a direct question that I can answer, absolutely, I will answer that question, because they've decided they want to know. And if I have the answer to that question, which might be a spoiler, I'll warn them about it. But being able to figure out and share that knowledge is one of the best parts of the gaming fandom. Just know the right time to share those things. Know not to ruin someone else's experience by sharing those things. Enhance the experience if you can, but know where that border is between keeping that unique experience that can only exist in the plot of a video game and the world building of a video game. Balance that with whetting an appetite, if you will. Thanks for listening. This has been Scan with GLHF TV.